Welcome to Mission Sonlight Extra. In a previous segment, I shared I've got a guest today named David Caukill from ICC Australia. And ICC Australia is based in Sydney, Australia, but you serve children in Southeast Asia, correct?
That's correct.
All right, David, you live quite a ways from Sydney. If people are looking on the map, they would travel southwest into the mountains, is that correct?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your home and share with me a bit about your story of coming to know Christ and your walk in the last few years.
Well, a little over 20 years ago, I was working as a truck driver. I had my own business, so we call it trucking as you do here, and those big semi-trailers, same thing. And so my role was in this business was logistical maneuvers. We'd move freight from one side of the country to the other, and it would be something like...
And these trucks aren't just like ours with one trailer. They stack up to 2, 3, and 4?
Yeah, it's big.
Do they ever get bigger than 4?
No, unless it's a train. and so, yeah, it would be like, a typical week would be like, if I use the American equivalent, it would be like driving from New York to Los Angeles, return every week. And this was my week for a number of years, 6 in fact. And it was through that period of time that I met this guy in the middle of nowhere in this really small little town of just a few hundred people. And he shared with me about Christ and shared with me about the possibility of a better future with Christ. I looked at this man and I started to weigh up and wonder and consider that, was he just telling me something, or was he just really yearning that I felt what he knew that has set him free for years? And I thought, well, any man that spent 3 hours talking to me with such energy and enthusiasm, there must be more to this. At the end of that conversation, I'm back in my truck and I'm heading to my destination in Perth, and I think within 15 minutes I decided that what that man had, I needed, and I decided right there and then I was going to become a Christian.
Amen. So
a little further into my journey, another 4 hours, middle of the night, I stopped at this little wayside truck stop. It would be the equivalent of some dusty, half-blown outfit in Nevada. And I decided that, seeing as this gentleman had told me I needed to be baptized, to be born again, I thought, I'll go and have my baptism. So I went in the shower, and 30 minutes later I felt that all the sin had finally gone down the plug hole. And that was my baptism. And,
self-baptism.
well, it's kind of, that was my version of it.
Sure.
It was my time of recognizing the need of a Savior.
Amen.
And my journey since then has, and you asked about home, and well, we live in a bus. It doesn't move, it's old, it's 60 years old. Not long after that experience, back then in the shower, I decided that I was no longer going to invest in stuff, I was going to invest in people. And so I've spent the rest of my life since then for over 20 years, and my wife now joins me in this, and we just invest our time, our means, and the work that we can do in ministry to bless others. We have no real interest in attributing things to ourselves. We figure that God's got it all covered, and when we get to heaven we can enjoy all what He's done and prepared for us. Right now we need to keep busy because there's a lot of people that we can serve, and children especially, the unfortunate survivors of trafficking, and kids who are impoverished, who have come from dump sites and things like that. We can help them and serve them.
So there's some dots we're not all connecting between that shower and you being an international liaison for needy kids in Southeast Asia. Just fill those in just briefly.
I just read a newsletter one day from ICC Australia. It was in my local church, and I thought, this looks like an interesting outfit. I'll give them a call and see if I can lend a hand. And that started a relationship with them that ultimately turned into a job, and over years raising funds and awareness, and so it's now a full-time job, and I'm part of the management team that runs the organization.
So out of that shower and that truck stop, you felt redemption.
Yeah.
And at some point you must have met the Seventh-day Adventist Church. The fellow you talked to, was he a Seventh-day Adventist?
He was an Adventist.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so there was, I hope, a little more depth to what you experienced, and over the years developed it even more. And so in your local church you found this brochure.
Yeah.
And you said you've been with them 16 years?
Yes.
Okay. How can one find out more about your work with ICC Australia?
Real easy. Just jump on our website, www.iccaustralia.org.au. Volunteering, donating, giving, sponsoring, rescuing. It's all there.
Okay, and I want to make sure that our audience caught at the end, it's not just .org, but it's .org.au, which of course is for Australia, the Australian internet code there. So one more time, iccaustralia.org.au. All right, and they can learn how to volunteer, how to give, and just more about the support needed with ICC.
That's right.
Australia. Thank you, David. Thanks so much for joining us.
No worries.
Thank you for joining us for Mission Sonlight Extra.